You've just tuned in to the SNES composer that never was. I'm Kitarraman and this is the fourth and last episode of Ugly Babies Season 2. We finally reached the chapter where I get fired. Let me say that this wasn't the game I was already working on. The studio had two teams. One was making the pixel art game whose music you already listened to in the previous episodes. The other was building a full-blown MMO ARPG. Realistic and cinematic. The kind of game that eats terabytes for breakfast. Realistic orchestral sound, they said. No problemo. So why was I fired? At the time I was a substitute teacher in Milan, which means two things. No sleep and a lot of commuting. I was bouncing between schools on opposite sides of Milan and crashing on my aunt's couch in the north. My DAW? Safe at home. My laptop? A desktop replacement, which is tech speak for portable in theory, chiropractor in practice. Luckily, I had my Samsung tablet and Presonus's Notion to fall back on, and I relied heavily on the Duo to sketch ideas, flesh out the orchestration and send out demos and updates to the director. In my initial meeting, I was told I didn't have a tight deadline to stick to, but the fact that I wasn't working at my usual pace might have tipped him off that something wasn't going according to his schedule, so he asked for my ETA to finish the track. Then decided to set a deadline after pointing out that my ETA wouldn't cut it and that the studio was crunching and couldn't fall behind schedule because of me. Also, he complained that my track wasn't as memorable as his primary reference. And then he made a very peculiar criticism. I explained that the reference track he gave me was memorable to him because he spent hours and days listening to it while playing Ultima Online. If he gave it enough time, my track could grow on him. I phrased it a bit more brazenly, which probably rubbed him the wrong way. And what was the critique? He said my track had too many notes, and I said, and this is where I think I sealed my fate, funny. The last guy who said that was Emperor Joseph II to Mozart. If history repeats itself, we might be onto a masterpiece, my liege. He didn't laugh. I did. For about a week. I was reprimanded because my response wasn't deemed professional. I'll admit it. Mistakes were made in communication for reasons I won't disclose here.
I've made a huge mistake.
I've made a huge mistake.
I've made a huge mistake.
I made a huge tiny mistake.
I've made a huge mistake.
But I wasn't prepared for the ass whooping I was about to get. I asked them a week to finish the work, but I already planned to pull a few all-nighters and deliver in a few days. I also told them that from that point onwards, I wanted a contract in place. I was working on a handshake deal, which now I know it's always a terrible idea. I worked non-stop Friday to Sunday morning, printed, sent a track, and went to Teatro La Scala for John Williams's rehearsals. The day after I got my reply, he said it sounded too MIDI.
Will you excuse me, please? Why, Tracy? Why?
He also let me know he was going with another composer, but still wanted to compensate me for my work. I sent the PayPal invoice and never heard back. So technically I got ghosted and unpaid. Double combo bonus in freelancer mode. The silver lining is I learned 3 things that day. 1. Never work without a contract. 2. Don't treat your clients like your friends. And 3. If someone says too many notes, just nod and quietly prepare your resignation letter. And that wraps up Ugly Babies Season 2. Like, share, do your internet magic, so I can start working on Season 3. I'm Kitarraman, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.